Welcome to another episode of Let's Wine, the podcast where we share a good glass of wine or several glasses of wine and we uncorked conversations. I have the privilege of having my co-host here today, Andrea Said. Andrea, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. And two very special guests. We have Scott Osterling, right? Did I pronounce it correctly? CEO of Texas Injection, and his Chief Encourager Officer, right? Jeff Applegate. Welcome, Jeff. And Scott. Well, cheers.
Sure. Like to grounding.
Yeah. So what are we drinking today, Andrea?
This is, what was it called? A Harmony and Soul Cabernet. So I had to look because we've been having so many different wines today in our podcast. And
so this is a full-bodied wine, just as full-bodied as the Texan blood, right?
Yes.
And
so you have to demonstrate both harmony and soul.
So, yeah, right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And so Texas Injection, why don't you share with us what is it that your business does? And for our audience, what's your business, how many employees, and all the good things that you do in Texas and for the world?
Yeah, so we are a custom plastic injection molder based in Houston, Texas. We have 35 injection molding machines and one blow molding machine, which is a slightly different process. And we have a customer base not only all over Texas, but all over the southern U.S. Across a lot of industries, oil and gas, heating and air conditioning, traffic and road safety. And it's, we're really proud of all of our employees. We have a new facility that's less than 5 years old. And we are growing. So Jeff, I'm sure will introduce himself in a minute, but founded the company. We came on board as the CEO in November when we sold it to Blackford Capital. We had an idea of, him investing in the business and me coming on is to grow. So we want to grow around the management team and the customers that we have in Houston and Texas Injection Molding. We want to build around that. We want to build a $300 million company around it.
Wow.
Because one of the core experiences of my life, I spent 10 years in the Army. We had not only in the Army, but in special operations units where the quality of people and the team that you build around is really, really important. So when you're finding the right business to grow around, it's not just that you need the right customers or great financials. All those are important, but it's really growing around people. And Jeff has put together a great team of people that he couldn't be happier to work with.
Well, that's fantastic. What a story. And I want to hear more about that special ops and how you're applying it on the day-to-day of the business. So Jeff, welcome. What a privilege to have you. You had a journey of being the founder and now being that cheerleader, that encourager.
Chief Encourager, yes. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So we've had great people that started off the business and had a great team. Many of those have been with me. We've been in business for about 12 years. So many of the senior management team has been with me the whole time. And so it's really been fun to watch them grow and as to tackle new challenges and take on more responsibilities. And my job, I have always felt like, was to help my employees and the customers prosper personally and professionally. So, just trying to give them the tools, the direction, and let them kind of get out of the way and let them grow it. And so it's been really fun. And they've had they've done a great job.
Wow, that's fantastic. How many employees?
Well, we have about 175 right now. We've been upward between 175 and 200.
Mm-hmm. Wow, all in Texas?
All in Texas, all in Houston, Texas.
Wow.
We have one guy that lives in North Carolina. So he got away, had to move to North Carolina. So we're trying to help him prosper personally, professionally, and we wanted to keep him. So he's been a great asset to us and works in North Carolina.
That's fantastic. And so I understand that you both gentlemen like wine. So what's your go-to wine?
Well, say the Cape probably would be my go-to wine. Yeah,
that's a nice choice.
That is. So my wife is from Mexico.
Okay.
And there's a local vineyard where her family is from San Miguel Bay, called Tres Raíces. and they have a great Cabernet. So.
Yeah.
Much more interesting answer.
Well, Mexico has really good wines, especially the ones that I've tried recently from the Guadalupe Valley and the Oaxaca region. They are absolutely outstanding wines.
Yeah, just the last 10 years, I think, Mexico has really grown up as a wine destination. We're trying to invest in about 10 years.
Yeah, right.
That's right. That's right. So how does the day-to-day of a CEO looks like, having also a major investment group behind that, and conserving, keeping the legacy and the culture that you build? And we'll talk in a little bit about culture.
No, it's a great question. I think one of the biggest challenges that CEOs have is how to spend their time. Because what the CEO spends their time on tends to be the focus of the organization. If you don't have the right priorities and you're having the team chase something that shouldn't be a priority, then things are going to get off track. So I've spent, we closed on the business in November. I really believe strongly in listen, learn, and then lead. So really tried over the first couple of months of my tenure to learn the people, how they work, learn the business. I did not grow up in injection molding. I was still am the CEO of another injection molding business that Blackford Capital owns, but really only familiar with the industry for 16 months or so. So I've got a lot to learn, and the team in place has that experience. And so I spend a lot of time listening to them about how a machine works, what customers and what products are good fits for the machine. And so I've spent a lot of time the first couple months just doing that. And one of the challenges that I have is, as Jeff alluded to, is, for the first time, the business has different investors and have creditors. I mean, time to borrow money from somebody, they want to know how that money's being spent. So they are interested in the financial results of the business. So there's a reporting rigor that we owe them as a creditor. And so that's been a little bit of an adjustment for the team. And so it's a balance for me, trying to learn the business and be open-minded about the process that the company has, while respecting the requirements that, all of the other stakeholders in the business have.
Well, but that's a big job. And you got two jobs, not one, but
Yeah.
you like challenges. No one wants special forces. So
Yeah.
that's great. Now, let's talk about culture, because I imagine it was a very important part of you building the business. How would you define the culture of Texas injection molding?
Kind of what I guess the saying that I always said: if we can get each other to respect each other and care for one another, everything else will take care of itself. And so early on, I would go even further to say, to love one another. And
how would
early on, I was trying to convey that culture, but I didn't speak the language. I mean, most of our employees speak their primary language is Spanish, and so we got my rep Lomas joined as an HR director early on, and really helped take the message that I was trying to build the company around early on and convey that out to the floor. And so as we, in those first, we had experienced a lot of growth really fast.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of change happened. And so she had lots of opportunities to help them, train them how to make sure that they respect each other, care for each other. One of the first things we did was, when I got there, we had terrible bathrooms. We had one bathroom that the men and women shared. It was on-air conditioned. The bottom 4 inches of the door was rotted off, and they had really no, suitable any place to really eat their lunch. And so, we very first thing we did was, we built a second bathroom back to back, put window units in, tiled it, made a really nice bathrooms, and then we also built the break room out. So the very first thing we did was to communicate that that we cared for the employees. That as minimum, we're going to make that big change. And so that was, one of the first things we did. Safety was another piece we did. I was walking through the shop floor early on, saw a machine running with the door open. I'm like, you don't run a machine with the door open, if somebody could get caught in there. I went and looked that they had zip tied the safeties. And so we shut every machine down and said, we're not going to start that back up until every one of those are fixed. And so it took a good part of the day, and we gradually got one machine after another fixed. But it sent the message that we're not going to put profits above the employee safety. So we really, really made a conscious effort, and it was from our hearts. I mean, we wanted to do the right thing. I mean, I felt terrible, about some of the conditions. It was hot. I mean, we were early on. It was, we were on air conditioned Houston, Texas.
That's hot.
I know that on a 92-degree day, I checked the ceiling. It was 142.
Wow.
So we did put some reflective things up there to change the heat, but it was just like frying, just like focused heat on you. So it was tough. So we've come a long, long way from there, and it's been amazing. Built a great culture, and not Myra and then her team, as we've added managers, they carried that forward. And so I think that's one of the strongest things about the company is the culture.
That's great. And how's your Spanish coming along all those years?
I've got a few lines that I can go with Spanish.
I was going to ask the next question in Spanish.
Yeah,
But there is a very important key word that you need to learn in Spanish, and that's called vino.
Vino,
wine. So,
what? Yeah, So I'm saying, so you got, one of these is calendar. And so I guess that they all laugh when I say calendar. I guess it's a teenage thing that's kind of
that period or whatever that they're saying, right? Yeah.
So anyway, we have a good time and enjoy, trying to make it through the plant a couple times a day and just see everybody and just let them know that we care. And so it's a great environment.
That must really affect the amount of turnover that you have for a group of employees who now suddenly feel cared for. Like you care when I have to take a bathroom break. That must really help in terms of the turnover.
Each other. So it's really great. I mean, we don't really have to do much anymore because they know what it was like to work in the old facility.
Yeah.
They have a beautiful brand new facility, air conditioned, really nice break room, really nice bathrooms. And if people come in and they don't fit in, it's not like we have to do anything. They know, because they know what it was like before, and they will, I guess, self-police.
Yeah.
It's really fun to see. Each of the shifts was like their own family. And I mean, literally almost every day they're celebrating on their own shifts. They're celebrating birthdays or holidays, bringing in potluck lunches, dinners. And so it's really fun to come in either early in the morning or a second shift, and they're all decorating up the break room and taking care of each other. And so that's really led by the supervisors, and the supervisors usually have 2 or 3 other people that are championing it. There's the people they're the happy-go-lucky ladies that like to have a party, like to have a good time, and they make it happen. And
that's great.
It's really fun. It really warms my heart when I go out there and I see them all enjoying each other and celebrating. And so they self-police, and then you gotta have the right attitude to stay. And so they do stay, and the ones that don't fit, then they will find new way.
Wow, what a lovely story.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But I'm still intrigued about your special operations career. So how long were you?
So I spent 10 years in the Army, about 7 of those years, and special forces. So I was a Ranger and was a Green Beret.
Well, wow. What have you applied from those years to corporate America, to a business that is growing, that it's going to the next phase?
Yeah. So one of my formative experiences when I was a young lieutenant in the Ranger Regiment, I was 25 years old. I had a platoon. It's about 40 soldiers. And we were rehearsing a mission that we were getting ready to do in combat. We had done it probably 4 or 5 times, and it was a night parachute assault onto an airfield. Just think about like an airport at night, right? You got taxi lights and you got the big signs that mark the taxiways and everything. So there's a lot of stuff that you can fall into from the sky. So every time we did this, we'd hurt one or two guys. And I had a young team leader who was about my age. And so team leader's in charge of 3 soldiers. So first line supervisor. And he was, as I said, about my age. And I'm the first one out of the plane because I'm the leader. I'm the first one that goes out. And I carry the radio with me, which normally somebody else carries, which is really heavy. And this particular team leader was 3 people behind me. And he had both my platoon and his team had a very important mission to start with. And there was an enemy air defense site that it was our responsibility to take over. So we were one of the first people on the airfield. And so this was the 5th time that we did it. And we jumped out and you go to, everybody meets in an assembly area. And of course, you're all in night vision goggles. You can't make any noise. And you've got a set amount of time that you can be in the assembly area before you have to move on your mission. Everything has to be on a very tight timeline. And so we got in there, and we're get into the middle, and we're platoon sergeant, who's the senior non-commissioned officer, most experienced man in the platoon, is in there with me, and we're counting everybody in. And I was like, "Where is Ranger Martin? And where is he? He hasn't shown up yet. And he's supposed to lead us into this objective." And of course, my boss, the commander, is on the radio telling me to hurry up. Just 30 more seconds. He'll be here. And right before we were getting ready to leave, we see somebody sort of crawling into the assembly area. And he had, because this is the Rangers, everybody's giving him a hard time for being late. And he's like, I had a malfunction with my parachute. And so, come to find out that he had filmed this from the helicopter. So we could see me go out, and we could see 2 or 3 people, and then you could see just this body sort of falling. And he had gotten his parachute open, but he didn't have your reserve parachute you wear on your stomach. And so when it deploys, you kind of fall like that unless you can sort of pull yourself up. And he didn't have time to do that. So he fell on his back and broke his ankle. He broke some bones in his legs. But he made it into the assembly area anyway. And so obviously, we treated him, and we asked him, why did you do that? Because what you should have done is stay where you were, right? And get somebody's attention to come help you, because yes, this is important, but it's, ultimately it's a training mission, not for real. In response, I thought the biggest lesson that I carry with me through my 10 years is encapsulated in what his answer was. And his answer is that I had 3 privates relying on me that were scared because we had done this 4 or 5 times, and every time somebody got hurt, and the next time we were going to do it was for real. And so I wanted to be there for them. Right? Wow. Yeah. So, as a leader, if you can be around people like that, and that care about the organization, care about other people enough to be able to do something like that, then that's the kind of organization I want to be part of.
Wow. Well,
that is powerful. That is awesome.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers to that. Wow. That is great. Yeah. Thank you.
This is, what a story. You left that speechless.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what an appropriate for, Sarge, somebody that's going to care for people.
Right. What a great match up with the culture.
So when I looked at, we had lots of interest in our business. And Blackford Capital was not a big, they're not a large private equity firm. And you really spent time,
Poor Scott, I wore him out with like 3 pages of questions. It's like a 5-hour dinner.
Yeah. Well, it's very emotional. And I know that, personally, it's a very emotional thing. It's your baby, and you really want to make sure it's getting carried forward in a way that feels meaningful and right for you. So,
Exactly. So you can see that was some of the affirmation you can't get everything at the beginning. We not tried, but no, it's an affirmation afterwards to know that we have the right fit, the right leadership for the company to take it forward and carry on.
Amazing. So just a question of curiosity, do you drink wine at that dinner?
At our dinner, no. I don't think we're so.
Well, there's too many questions to go there.
Folder that was about that. Yeah, that he had done on me. I was ready for. He's going to ask about my vision for the company and my experience and all that. And he did, but he's starting with, Scott, tell me how you grew up.
Right. Who are you? Right?
So he was.
Yes.
I ask it because I don't know if you know, but Andrea and I did a partnership last year, and we merged both of our companies, and we spent also 3 hours at dinner, but we drank 2 bottles of wine.
You're in New York City, and you're in an Italian place, and
when you always get better.
Yeah. You know what? We instantly liked each other, and that was the point. Both of our guts were like, this is good. This feels right. And that was just the beginning of a lot of conversations, but it was sort of and it wasn't just the wine. It was definitely a shared vision in terms of that. So it was, same culture, same values, that kind of thing. So.
Wow. That's an amazing story. So we have 3 quarters left of this year, right? It seems like a long time, but it's not, right? And I'm sure you have.
Well, we have another week left in this.
Right. Straight from the CEO himself, right? Yep.
That's right. What's in store for Texas Injection, for Scott, for Jeff, for the next 3 quarters of the year?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So, as we mentioned, we want to grow. Now, our growth strategy to get us from being a $40 million business that we are today to a $300 million business, there's a lot in between there. We want to grow both organically and through acquisition. We have our great. He was a co-owner, minority owner with Jeff, a guy named Scott Kelly, who's leading our sales team as the chief commercial officer. A fantastic, fantastically experienced in the industry, just a really, really good salesperson. And he has done a great job of, creating new logo business for Texas Injection Molding, and so we expect to have about $7 million in new business this year. And we're looking at, we have a couple of companies under LOI for acquisition. So as these things go, they may take 9 months to get a deal done. It may all happen in the same week and in 30 days. It's, sometimes sort of hard to predict, but we are trying to move fast. Because we also care about, we care about the team at Texas. We want them to see the progress that we're making, because we want to realize the vision that Jeff had when he sold the company to us. And one of the reasons that we picked them is, as we said, the team has the talent to do a lot more. And the quicker we can get there, the quicker we can find the synergies between the companies and do all that, the faster we'll get to that growth.
Right. I think everybody talks about growth, but one of the biggest challenges when we talked about growth is doing it in a way that is sustainable for both the operation, the people, because not everybody can grow at the same pace or as fast. So doing it in a sustainable way that does not put a strain in the business, I think that's the biggest challenge that we face as leaders. Right?
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So how about you, Jeff? What's with the next 3 quarters for you?
Well, I'm supporting Scott in that endeavor. So as Scott mentioned, he doesn't have a lot of experience in the molding business. And so as we go and look at these acquisitions, I can come in, and we also bring Scott Kelly in as well. And between the two of us, we can look at pretty quickly by meeting the people, looking at the operations. We can understand quickly if this is a good fit for us. And we're looking, initially for what we call beachheads, So we're looking for high growth areas of the country and high growth industries. So companies that are serving high growth industries and have the capacity to grow themselves. So beachhead would be somebody that we could be, a beachhead or an anchor that's in say, we look at two high growth regions would be the Southeast United States and the Southwest United States. So finding a beachhead in each of those areas that has the capacity to grow, there, and then we can do add-ons around that. So once you establish that beachhead, then you can get add-ons and you can bolt them on and get synergies from those companies. And so that's kind of our strategy. So I'm really supporting their efforts and evaluating the customers. I think it also helps to be a peer to the folks that we're talking to, or other people that are like me. They have the same concerns that I did, and I can relate to them. And I can say, yes, as they express, hey, lots of private equity firms, and you hear all these negative things about private equity firms. And I say, I have the exact same feelings. And, I want to keep the culture. I want to keep the people. I want to see the company prosper. It is your legacy. And so I get it. And let me tell you why I ended up working with Blackford Capital and what my commitment is to continue on to do this. So that helps, I think, and that is to have they'll look me in the eye and say, I want to know, how is it, and so that's been I think a good help to be able to give them some assurances as best as I can that I spent a lot of time kind of going through this, trying to pick the right firm and why I think it'd be I think it's good that they would join.
Yeah, I've been in the industry for 30 years, and what the industry was 30 years ago and what it is today is remarkably different. The M&A is huge. There's a lot of people who had incredible companies that they brought up, and then their son or daughter took over, and then that legacy sort of ended. And now what, right? And that's where we're at with so much activity in terms of that. So it's really interesting. But your title's very intriguing, which is Chief Encouraging Officer. So I thought maybe you could tell us a little bit about how that came to be.
Sure. So when I was initially starting the business and I was going to have to sell my 401k because the bank had required me not just to buy the business, but they wanted me to also buy the real estate. And to put all that together, I was going to have to sell my 401k. My dad joined in and just begged me and I remember having lunch with him and saying, Dad, you may never see $1 from this. And so I really was resistant to take that. And anyway, he joined in, but it was the greatest thing because we got to share that experience where he was a great encourager to me. He was out every time I go to their house, they would ask me a million questions. I would always give him financials. He looked up our customers. He looked up competitors, and he knew more or as much about the business as I did. And it was, as we built buildings and did other things, he was right there beside me. And so he was my great encouragement. And so in 2020, during COVID, I bought some business cards for him that said Chief Encourager. And then he passed away on December 12th, right before I was able to give them to him. So as I had made the decision after we'd grown and kind of bet the farm over and over and over, and saw that we were going to outgrow this other facility and that we needed to bet the farm again, I felt like it was time to bring in a partner. And so as I selected Blackford Capital to be our partner to kind of give us a rocket fuel to continue to grow, I told Martin Stein, who's the chairman, I said, hey, I'd like to have the title Chief Encourager. So I moved from, as a parent, you move from coach to cheerleader. I want to move from coach to cheerleader and cheerlead all the people that have been there with me, and Scott as he takes on the leadership rank. So
yeah, that's beautiful
story. Wow, this is amazing. So we've heard a lot about the challenges that the industry faces in general, but I always like to look at life with a positive spin. What do you think are the opportunities for the industry now that you're getting to know the industry and all the knowledge that you have? What are the opportunities? Not the challenges, but the opportunities.
Well, look, manufacturing in the United States has kind of had a tough run the last 40 or 50 years. We've seen a lot of it go to Asia and other places. Plastic injection molding is manufacturing that works in the United States. And as geopolitical events happen, as companies look to reshore business to the United States, either because they want American content in there or because they're trying to mitigate some of the geopolitical risk, it's already an industry that's profitable and that works. And that means just a small change in the amount of manufacturing that comes back to the United States means that our industry will be the net beneficiary is that.
Absolutely.
How about you? Any thoughts?
Well, I would agree. I think that you see so much that it's been outsourced, and it only takes a little bit, and really, the capacity and the talent has been decimated in the United States. And so it would only take a little bit of a geopolitical issue, which is happening as we speak, that people will start bringing stuff in. And it will be those that are in manufacturing that have the capacity, that have the systems, the procedures, the facilities that can grow, I think are going to be, and I've been waiting for this for 30 years. I felt like this was, I kind of went along in manufacturing, said it's going to come back. And when it comes back, we'll be in a great position to capitalize on that and do really well. And then we're seeing that now, and you're seeing that with a lot of investment in the United States. And so that will take some time, but we're already seeing some of that. So that's and I think automation also, we're able to compete better. Now I think the cost of automation has come down, and we've made some investments, and it's kind of the chicken or the egg. When the automation can be expensive, you go outside, hire it in, but we've made the investment of our internal resources to train them and to give them the opportunity to grow and learn the automation. So it's really fun to watch them. We can look at something and say, we need to figure out how to assemble that and do welding, or, there's lots of different opportunities, and, they go back to their office and figure it out. And so what would have cost, $50,000 and taken 3 or 4 months, they're going on and McMaster-Carr and spending a few $1,000s and throwing something together, and that we can get it done in a matter of weeks. And it's, so I think that also allows us to be competitive. We've made an investment, and we've got and I think they've grown in their confidence, and which has really been fun to watch them grow their confidence. So there's really very little that they won't take on to automate. So coming back and our ability to be competitive, I think those are both provide some opportunities for us.
Well, amazing. Now, gentlemen, to close it off, if your lives, your journeys, your careers were a glass of wine, like the one we're drinking today, how would you define glass of wine that it's your career, your life stories?
Full.
I love it.
A full glass.
A full glass. Yeah. Love it.
Be a sweet glass.
Aww.
It's been an amazing journey, beyond all I could think or imagine. I think Scripture tells us, Ephesians 3:20, that God is able to provide exceedingly abundantly beyond all we could think or imagine. And so really this journey for me and my career has been beyond all I could think or imagine, to work with such great people, to build such great products, to be part of creating, we've manufactured about 450 different products. And to be part of every one of those products has a person behind it, has a story behind it, has a dream behind it. And when I walk through the shop floor and I see each product, I know the people, I know the story behind that product. In many cases, was involved in bringing the product to market and watching them sell it and solve problems. And so it's been a sweet time, and beyond all I could think or imagine.
Wow.
It's wonderful.
How powerful. Cheers to you, gentlemen.
Yes. Cheers. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah.
Well, cheers to what you will continue building, to that full glass. That it's not one, but many, there will be many, many full glasses. Thank you for the gift of your time. It means a lot to Andrea and I, and let's wine. Cheers.
Cheers.